The e-commerce world is in chaos. 2025 and tariffs are hitting harder than ever. Product prices are skyrocketing and margins are thinner than ever. So as an agency, what's your move? In the next few minutes, you'll discover the hidden costs of being reactive in this climate, how to audit your clients' supply chains and protect their margins, and proactive steps to keep your clients alive while they look to you for solutions. It's time to lead, not follow. Let's dive in. Hey crew, real quick, I filmed this video about a week ago and then Trump, of course, gets a tariff deal done. Now, everything that I'm about to say in this video is still very applicable, but just as a heads up, tariff deal over the next 90 days going from, I think it was 145% down to 30% now. So with that being said, still pay attention to what is being said in this video because who knows what happens after this 90 days. The tariffs could go back to 145%. They could stay at 30. It could drop even lower, but we still need to be proactive with our clients, which is exactly what this video talks about. So listen in, enjoy. All right, let's talk about the current state of e-commerce agencies. As of right now, it's 2025. Things are getting a little bit real in the world of e-commerce. And first off, Trump's recent tariffs have thrown a complete wrench into the e-commerce ecosystem. We're talking 10% baseline tariffs on all imports, with some countries facing even higher rates. This isn't just some minor hiccup. This is a seismic shift when it comes to the ecosystem of e-commerce and especially the profit margins of your clients. Now, brands that relied heavily on overseas manufacturing, they're scrambling right now. Margins are getting super thin, and the ripple effect is really hitting agencies hard because this is all downstream from agencies. So here's the deal. When these brands are feeling the squeeze, especially on their profit margins, they are looking at expenses. And up until this point, agencies are unfortunately seen as expendable. If you're not directly contributing to the bottom line, then you're on the chopping block. So if you guys are unfamiliar with my channel and my company Hydra, we work directly with agencies on a consulting level. And what we're noticing, especially with our D2C e-com clients, is that clients are churning faster than ever. And it's not because they simply don't like you. It's because they're trying to survive. And when a company is in this survival state, they are looking to cut any unnecessary expenditure inside of their business. So what can you agencies do to get ahead? Well, it has to simply do with being proactive in a time where most agencies are being too reactive to what their clients' needs actually are. So we're not gonna wait for clients to come to us with their problems. We need to get in front of this. We need to anticipate them and make sure that we are servicing our clients, of course, in the way that our agencies do, but we have to get ahead of the problems and offer solutions that they didn't even realize that the issues were there. So I'm going to give you guys some very practical and tactical tips that you take away, apply to your agency today. So ideally your churn rate doesn't skyrocket and you can build really long-term partnerships with your D2C e-com brands. So where do we start with our proactivity? Well, it simply starts with auditing our client supply chains for tariff exposure. So we're going to start by identifying the client's top SKUs and their country of origin. Anything that's coming overseas, especially from China right now, is getting slapped with a massive tariff. So we're going to cross-check each product category against the current U.S. tariff list. Now, you can find this information available at the U.S. International Trade Commission or the CBP website. From there, we assess the landed cost increases per unit due to new tariffs. So this is us just having a better understanding of how this is going to affect your current client's margin. And then from there, we're going to estimate the total margin erosion across top product lines. Present this information in a very simplified report with clear next steps and urgency around sourcing changes, because that's going to kind of lead into our second step here, but we need to have options. If sourcing from China is no longer the option, well, we better have a game plan of where we're going to source from, which leads me into step 2 here, which is we need to start suggesting alternative sourcing options. If China is not viable anymore, you guys are going to lose this business and they're going to take this in-house, or they're going to find something that's cheaper. They're going to go more of the AI route. They're going to find any way to cut these costs. So we need to find some alternative sourcing options if they are available. If your client heavily relies on Chinese suppliers, we simply need to do some more research for them. Whether it's US-based, Mexico-based manufacturer, there's a ton of directories out there. Some of the ones that we've used in the past include ThomasNet, Makers Row, or there's some Alibaba and alternatives like Import Yeti. Take a look, see if there are some alternative sourcing options for your client, and consider nearshoring to reduce transit times and mitigate future geopolitical risks. Now, if you want to really take this a step further, you can help the client vet some of these new suppliers, send out some requests for quotes or RFQs, analyze the pricing, the lead times, sample quality. You want to make sure, of course, that the end product is just as good as coming from overseas. But these are the things that we're going to do to stay proactive and show ourselves as a partner to this client. Now, we can offer to help set up trial production runs, dual sourcing strategies to kind of soften some of that transition. But these are the things we have to start thinking about as agencies. If we want to be seen as a partner in this business, we are not just a commodity. We are not just an expense. We are a partner that actually helps solve the problems that our clients are running into. And this is where it starts. And then this leads into our third step, which is implementing a more cost-saving marketing strategy for these types of clients. Now, chances are they're not going to be able to pay the high retainers anymore. Or if you have a very big performance fee that's on top of your retainer, there might have to be some shifts and some restructures, especially if you're noticing that the margin simply isn't there. Remember, these businesses run for profit, right? If they are not profitable, then they're going to start cutting expenses. So we're going to shift from more of a high customer acquisition cost paid media to more of an owned and earned channel. So if you guys aren't running any email, SMS, or community type offers, we're going to try to shift more towards these types of offerings because these are owned lists. They're not expensive to remarket to, and we can cut some of the ad costs by leaning more into this. Now, you might have to go find a partner to help you with this, but right now we are doing anything that we can to retain revenue for the agency, and typically retention type marketing is the lowest cost to the business. From there, we can run post-purchase UGC contests to turn customers into more evangelists. So we're essentially taking our current client roster and running some sort of cheap and effective content pipeline where they're bringing more customers back to the table for them. And it can be a model where, hey, they bring in some sort of affiliate and they're able to have an affiliate code and they get paid based off of that. And your only cost is paying out the affiliate after whatever product is actually purchased. From there, we can start putting more of the ad spend on LTV maximizing campaigns. Think of this as more like upsells, bundles, reactivation flows, all things that focus more on maximizing the LTV versus getting new customers into the door. We all know that acquiring new customers is the most expensive way to grow an e-commerce brand. So once again, we're going back to more of that retention style marketing, but we can have some reactivation campaigns that allow us to have existing customers come back into our ecosystem and continue purchasing from us. We can also come in, test AI generated creatives to lower production costs while maintaining output volume. So we're able to still create the amount of creatives that we need to have successful campaigns. But hey, it's the age of AI right now. We can do everything from producing more static, more video content simply by utilizing AI. So these are routes that we're exploring right now to bring our production costs down. And if your brands aren't doing any type of referral, ambassador programs that turn the best customers into the best salespeople, these are also avenues that we're looking for. Once again, this is all paid on their performance. So really you're not acquiring any costs until the product is moved out the door. Utilizing some of these tactics will show them that you're not just a service provider, that you are a partner in this survival stage, because this is what brands are thinking about right now is how do we survive and how do we make sure that this business does not go under. Now, these are some of the strategies that I would be utilizing to cut some of the marketing spend for our clients, but chances are you're still going to have conversations around retention and you're probably having clients that already have one foot out the door. So let's talk about some retention strategies if you do have to have conversations with your clients around churning. So most e-commerce brands have a ton of different SKUs, right? Very rarely are we seeing e-commerce brands really narrow down the focus on their main winners. So we're going to cut the unprofitable SKUs, double down on the winners. Essentially, less is more at the end of the day. So do a full margin analysis, kill the underperformers, and reallocate the spend to the top 20% of the products that are driving 80% of the revenue. Simplicity scales at the end of the day. And it's always more profitable to lean on the winning products versus trying to launch new SKUs, launching an adjacent brand. We want to keep this as simple as possible because our marketing efforts are just going to go a lot further the more simple it is. We can also look at negotiating better shipping rates for our clients, consolidate shipments across product lines. We can bundle fulfillment into fewer carrier pickups, look at joining co-op programs with other brands. These are all things that we need to do right now to get scrappy to eliminate some of the costs. We could also look at working with 3PLs that offer multi-client discounts or freight brokers who can negotiate better pricing on your behalf. Nothing is off the table. We are getting as scrappy as possible, and we know that shipping rates are really difficult for a brand right now. So we're looking to negotiate, we're looking to get better pricing across the board. And then what can we do on your side of the table, right? Well, we sometimes have to offer some more flexible payment terms in the now to keep that client so we can continue to build with them in the future. So if you're at a higher flat retainer, maybe we can offer some sort of temporary step down retainer plus performance based on revenue targets or profitability targets. If you're on retainer plus ad spend, consider shifting part of your fee to commission on profitable ROAS or LTV metrics. And then if you're on performance only, include a base operational fee to cover your core team while still giving upside on scaled results. So there are some plays that we can do to be a little bit more flexible on our payment terms. We don't want to completely eliminate our fee. We don't want to work for free. But hey, if we need to move to more of a performance model to have our skin in the game, that's something that we might consider for the next 90 days. Okay, so be flexible here, put a short-term period on it, get a new contract in place, and then that way you guys can keep the relationship going, still get paid a little bit for your time and effort. But hey, this is when we got to strap in and get scrappy with our clients. So what do we do when a client says, I want to churn or I want to leave? We're absolutely sinking as a company right now. Well, that's not the end of the conversation. It's really the beginning of a crucial one. Now, first we got to clarify and quantify what the pain is. This is basically just sales all over again. You're having to resell them that this is the best solution, this is the best path forward, and leaving is going to be the worst possible scenario for them. So what specifically prompted this decision and them leaving? Chances are it's going to be around profitability, but can you quantify the current financial stress or drop in performance? Then from there, we need to question those assumptions. So if they want to bring this in-house, well, we need to ask questions around what specifically makes you confident that bringing advertising in-house will actually reduce the total cost and maintain performance. Because chances are you guys are performing well for your clients, right? And it has nothing to do with performance. It simply has to do with the margin. So if they're bringing this in-house, will it actually reduce costs? We need to get them to question that. Other questions you can ask is, hey, have you factored in the cost of training a new team? Like if you're bringing this internal, you're gonna have to train a team. Okay, what tools do you actually need to make it viable? The mistakes that you're gonna make along the road, and the ramp-up time of calculating the savings of bringing this in-house. There's a lot of cost to running marketing in-house, and we need to bring those up with them and have them understand it's like, hey, it's not just the grass is greener on the other side. These are real decisions that are gonna make a real financial impact inside of their business. From there, what if performance drops further during the transition? If they bring this in-house, how would your business handle additional cash flow pressure, right? Say that their ROAS drops drastically or their retention drops drastically, okay? What would that specifically do for the business then? And really the main question that we ask is like, hey, right now the market is very uncertain as we've both described. Is this the right time to increase operational risks and take a bet that a different marketing solution is actually going to work? Whether this brand decides to go with another agency to lower their costs, whether they're bringing this internally, well, what's their plan if the shift doesn't work? Because chances are you guys are still delivering a really great service for them, but like, what if it doesn't work unexpectedly? Have you modeled scenarios where performance slips during this transition? These are questions that they need to be thinking about because right now they are just thinking about cutting costs and saving their margins. So what happens if performance slips even more? Have they considered that? And at the end of the day, we just have to frame the reality. Like, it's a tough decision for the brand either way. Chances are they probably don't want to leave you, but they can stick with a team that knows their brand. They have proven results already and has actively been solving the problems with them this entire time. Or they can go it alone and take a risk in a volatile time, right? There are risks in doing both. There's risks with staying and there's also risks of leaving. And typically the risks of leaving and transitioning to something completely new and completely unknown are typically higher than staying with the same agency. Now, you can 100% get creative on pricing or your scope of work, but only after they understand that doing it alone might be more expensive than sticking with the team that is already in the trenches with them. Now, this isn't all doom and gloom. There is a silver lining. Agencies that adapt to this type of model and get proactive with working with their clients, and I'm sure you're even thinking of strategies right now that you can think of outside of what I've listed here in this video. But agencies that adapt to this will not only survive this next season, especially with the tariffs. Eventually there will be a trade deal done. Eventually things will go back to normal. But like, this is where agencies will thrive. There will be a lot of agencies that fold during this time, and your goal is to survive alongside of your clients. So you have to become indispensable. By doing this, you guys are going to build stronger, longer lasting relationships with your clients, and you become an indispensable part of their team. Remember, adversity breeds innovation, and this is your agency's time to evolve. So to all the e-commerce agencies out there, times are changing. And whether it's through iOS 14, whether it's through tariffs, whether it's through the COVID pandemic, we're always going to run into issues like this that are outside of our control. But the best thing that we can do during this time is stay proactive with our clients and show them that you're just not another line item on their expense sheet, that you are their lifeline. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.